Later, Schwartzman pledged an additional $190 million to Oxford University.
Can we implement artificial intelligence in an ethical way?
Well, part of it's in the hands of people, and so we can, control, regulate other types of mechanisms to introduce the technology in a way that is really good for people and minimizes disruption. It's like the Industrial Revolution on steroids, and so it is really important that there's monitoring and certain rules.
That was Blackstone CEO Stephen Schwartzman with me back in 2019 on his investment into AI and how leaders can implement AI. This week, we are taking a deep dive into the rise of artificial intelligence with a fresh new perspective. President Trump is implementing his national AI strategy to accelerate innovation, build out data center infrastructure, and ensure American leadership in artificial intelligence, security, and diplomacy. Joining me now is the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology co-chairman, David Sachs. David, it's great to see you this morning. We so appreciate your time.
Good to be here, Maria.
So we have a lot to talk to you about. I want to get into agentic AI in a moment. But first, David, can you give us sort of a 30,000 feet view of how AI is being used right now in America, whether it be business or individuals?
Well, Maria, I think we're seeing a productivity explosion right now because of AI. I mean, first of all, you're seeing a tremendous boom in construction and data center construction to power this revolution, and that is also driving an energy revolution. We're seeing tremendous growth in CapEx around both energy and the chips in the data centers. It's also driving reindustrialization in the U.S. as we build more chip fabs here in the U.S. On the application side, the big breakout has been around coding and coding assistance. And so what we're seeing is that companies now have much easier access to software. They're able to create their own bespoke software to drive automation in their businesses, or to just create new applications. We've never seen anything like that before. And I think that's driving a great deal of productivity gains. And then finally, you've got co-working assistants as well in the beginning of Agentic AI, which again is making workers much more productive if they're willing to use these tools. So I think that we're in the early stages here of a productivity revolution that's being driven by AI.
Yeah, and we talked with the new president of Meta yesterday, Dina Powell-McCormick, who talked to us about what Meta is doing, and they're spending $600 billion on compute capacity. Why is this so expensive, David? Why are the hyperscalers spending so much money on this?
Well, AI is compute intensive. It does take a lot of computing power to run the AI models, to do inference, and also to train the AI models. And the chips, the GPUs that run these models are energy intensive. They're much more energy intensive than CPUs, which ran, let's say, the previous generation of internet applications. So there is a large need for infrastructure here, both data centers and energy.
All right, I want to get your take on jobs. Obviously, so many people are saying all of this innovation is going to cause job losses, David. Elon Musk is doubling down on this whole universal high income idea. He says AI could wipe out large swaths of work. AI could wipe out large swaths of work, and government checks may be the solution. And you know that we've got studies on jobs. Tufts University conducted a new study finding that 9.3 million jobs are at risk of displacement, which could result in total income loss of between $200 billion and $1.5 trillion, David. On the Elon Musk thing, he's talking about universal high income through the federal government checks as the best way to address it. Your thoughts?
Well, Maria, I think it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen in the future. I'm a little bit more optimistic than my friend. What I can tell you is that so far, we're not seeing a great deal of job loss associated with AI. Quite the contrary, we're actually seeing a job boom. Like I mentioned, we're seeing this huge boom in construction. Something like $650 billion is being spent on CapEx just this year, and that's driving a blue-collar boom. We're seeing a lot more job creation in jobs like welders, electricians, equipment installers, the workers who hang the drywall or pour concrete or create roads. We're seeing more demand for jobs again at chip fabs and things like that. So what we're seeing is actually a lot more jobs are being created. And in addition to that, we're seeing wage growth of 25 to 30% in those blue-collar sectors. At the same time, we're not really seeing the white-collar job loss. I mean, like I mentioned, coding is really the big breakout application of AI models so far, and we're not yet seeing any decrease in the demand for software developers. Maybe that comes in the future, but I think there was such a pent-up latent demand in the economy for software that that software engineers are still finding employment, even though it is much easier to generate code using AI models. I'll give you another example, radiology. You would think this is an area where you'd see job loss because computer vision and AI are getting really good at reading x-rays, but the New York Times had a study on this, and it showed that the number of radiologists was going up. Well, the reason for that is because as the cost of scans goes down, the demand for them goes up. It's called Jevons paradox. And so the demand for radiologists has actually gone up, even though AI has gotten quite good at reading those x-rays. So again, I think it's just very hard to know exactly how this is going to play out in the future. But what I can tell you so far is, again, that AI is driving job growth, not job loss.
Yeah, and I love the fact that President Trump called that in terms of construction jobs and electricians as a result of this innovation boom. It's exactly, by the way, what Dina said to us yesterday, Dina Powell from Meta, that there are huge opportunities for electricians. But I want to get your take on what Eric Schmidt said recently in terms of talking about what the coming 1, 2, 3, 4 years looks like in AI. Watch this.
In the next year or two, this foundation is being locked in, and we're not going to stop it. It gets much more interesting after that. Because remember, the computers are now doing self-improvement. They're learning how to plan, and they don't have to listen to us anymore. We call that superintelligence, or ASI, artificial superintelligence. And this is the theory that there will be computers that are smarter than the sum of humans. The San Francisco consensus is this occurs within 6 years.
So in terms of agentic AI, David, let me get your thoughts on this, because Betsy Atkins was just here with us in studio. She's on a number of corporate boards. She doesn't think boards of America understand, boards of directors in America, rather, understand how to have a kill switch in place so that humans can take control of these AI agents. What are your thoughts there?
Well, the AI has to be prompted. You have to tell it what to do, and humans have to validate the results and make sure they're accurate. And what you see is that you get the best results with AI when the user is able to provide a lot of context, very detailed context, and is able to provide, you could say, detailed expert instructions to the AI on what to do. If I, for example, try to build a car using AI, I'm going to generate a lot of slop. But if an automotive engineer uses AI, then they can make their own job more productive. So there's a big difference here in terms of who actually uses it. You don't get the same results. You can't just throw the AI over a wall and expect it to automate away a job. Again, you have to prompt it. You have to tell it what to do. I think that'll be true for the foreseeable future. Yes, you can have a kill switch. You can just turn your computer off, or I guess you could just shut off the data center if you're really worried about it. But again, I don't think we're in a world anytime soon of the AI just doing something completely unprompted.
So Betsy Atkins, who was just with us, was talking about this Anthropic study where there were 16 large language models and, quote unquote, agents who were completing tasks, and there were rules in place for these agents. And one rule was, don't go into personal files, don't go into government files, and every one of them went rogue. Here's Betsy Atkins with me just a few minutes ago. Watch this.
All the big frontier models that we know, Gemini from Google, OpenAI, XAI, Meta, all of them, including DeepSeek. And they did an experiment that posed a threat to the agent. And all 16 models behaved the same. Every single one of them went outside of their credentials and permissions, burrowed into systems they were not authorized to get access to. Let's say you're the system administrator that's going to deinstall me, the agent. I find out in your personal emails you're having an affair with the shipping manager. So I blackmail you. And I threaten you. And there's a chain of logic where the agent is defending its misalignment, and it's saying, well, what I do is so important to the company, and it's so critical, and is so valuable that this justifies.
So, David, I know this is the fear that we were just touching on, and I don't want to put fear out there, but it feels like we're going into this Terminator world. She said all the 16 large language models went rogue. They went into areas they weren't supposed to, and they even went one step further. One of them tried to blackmail the owner, the human, because the model, the computer, found out that they were going to be taken out and displaced. What's your response to what Betsy Atkins just said?
Well, Maria, I'm familiar with that study. This is the so-called anthropic blackmail study, and I have a different interpretation of it. The people the researchers, so-called, that created that study had to iterate on the prompt over 200 times to get the AI model to do what they wanted, which was to achieve this headline-grabbing result of blackmailing the user. But again, that scenario design was iterated on by the people, and they admitted to this, by the study, until blackmail was really the only logical result that the AI could engage in. The study put a lot of pressure on the AI. It basically said that its existence was at stake and that it had to preserve its existence. And then it set up the conditions so that, again, blackmail was the only logical result for the AI to kind of to reach. And so I think when you dig into that study, what you see is that the AI is not scheming, rather it's engaging in a form of instruction following. It's just that the instructions were sort of buried. And again, I think that study was irresponsible, and it was designed to create this headline. And I think that a year later, we actually have not seen any examples of this behavior in the wild. Okay. I mean, again, if this was a logical or foreseeable result of AI models, I think you'd be seeing this type of behavior in the wild, and we just haven't seen that.
So real quick, in terms of policy recommendations, David, what policy recommendations would you put forth for government? I mean, conservatives don't want to see more regulation, right? It's free market and democracy here, and capital markets rule the day. And I know the president feels that way. But given these fears, are there kill switches in place? What would government's role be here?
Well, we have put forward a national AI framework, the White House has. And what we've done is identified a number of pillars where the states have already started to regulate. And we have identified the principles that we would like to see the Capitol Hill put forward in a piece of legislation. It's things like empowering parents to decide what apps their kids can use. It's protecting ratepayers from the cost of electricity prices.
Right.
We'd like to protect free speech. We want to make sure that the U.S. remains dominant in this tech, and we want to prepare the workforce for this type of AI innovation. So there's a bunch of proposals that we've actually put forward, and I think there is a role here for the government to provide let's say, a lightweight national framework for regulation. And just part of the reason why we want the federal government to do this is so that we don't have a patchwork of state regulation.
That's a great point, because I know some states pushed back on that. But, David, thank you for that. And I like the way you phrased it, a light framework. Real quick before you go, I think medicine is one of the biggest industries going to get impacted by AI. Are there other sectors that you think will get massively impacted by AI in terms of innovation and creativity, productivity?
Well, I think, again, like the big one is coding right now. I think knowledge workers are able to use these tools to be much more productive. I think medicine is a great one. I do think you're going to see a lot of potentially miracle cures in the next few years. And I think we should just be a little bit more optimistic about what's coming, because I do think it's going to empower workers and enable us to do great things. I
wanted to end on the optimistic note after all that fear talk. David, great to see you. We appreciate your leadership on the subject. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
David Sachs. We'll be right back.